Hey guys, what's going on? If you've been following my channel, you know that I try to stay focused on a particular topic in a video. I talk about movies and music and comics, and I just put up a video about cars. There's a car show that I had filmed. And that's fine. I want to stay focused. I want the channel to appeal to, a wide range of audiences because I have a lot of interests. I'm not just the movie guy or the music guy or, something like that. But I want to take some opportunities to just go deeper and just delve deeper into my own collection, my own life. And so that's what this is. This is Collecting at Midnight, episode 1. And the goal of this is basically to do like podcast form, vidcast form. I have a podcast background, so here's an opportunity for something like this. This video, I can tell you a little bit about myself. So, my name is Heath Holland. I started a podcast with a friend called Mike Myers, not Austin Powers and not the serial killer, but another guy called Mike Myers. It was a comic book and geek culture podcast called Geek Brunch. This was circa 2006, I think. Went for about, I think I was on it for about 80 something episodes, and in that time, I was going through some personal stuff, and it just kind of became hard for me to keep my eye on the prize and why I was doing it, and I felt like I was phoning it in, and I was also, like I said, I just had some stuff going on, so I stepped away from that podcast, but it continued to go on. So here's a recommendation: Geek Brunch, early days podcast, before it was people pitching, having sponsorships from stamps.com and before you could make money podcasting, it was just people talking about the stuff that they loved, kind of like what YouTube was like before it became an opportunity for monetization. So here's another thing, is that this is, at one point in time, this was my daughter's playroom, and she's about to be 12, and so she doesn't really spend a lot of time in here anymore. So I was like, well, I'm going to take the room, and I'm going to put so that's why we have all the shelves in here, and it's a constant work in progress. If you look at stuff, which I can't imagine you don't, if you're looking at stuff on the shelves, there's no order. Sometimes there's a little bit of an order to things, but there's not a lot of things aren't alphabetized. Things aren't even in, if there's a trilogy of movies, they're not even necessarily in the right order, because the goal was just to get them off the floor, get them out of another room, get them on the wall. Organization will come later when the room is finished, but I say all that to say this is also the cat's room where the litter box is, and so they come in and out of here what are you doing where we go to the bathroom? Who are you talking to? Are you talking to me? You talking to me? And I have to be no, I'm talking to this lovely audience on YouTube, my friends, and I will jettison a cat, and there will be a wow. And so if you're watching my videos and they're in this room and there's an edit, and you're like, why is there an edit there? Probably because a cat did something really stupid. And I've just become paranoid that I didn't hit the record button, so I'm going to double check. Okay, all right. We are all good. We are recording. We're rolling, Bob. Geek Brunch, podcast that I was on. I still think the world of everybody who was involved in that. Okay, I have a cat approaching right now. Hello. So if you want to check that podcast out, I believe it's still available, but keep in mind that doesn't really represent any current opinions that I would have. We're talking about over a decade ago. And a lot of things have changed as far as how I view comic books, and back then we were so happy to have Spider-Man 3, so it was different times. Also, currently, and for the last 5 years, I've been affiliated with a website called F This Movie. It's a podcast, it's a website, it's a blog, and seriously, I made a video about F This Movie Fest 7, which is coming up. As of this recording, if you're watching this in 2076, you missed it. I'm sorry. But there was F this movie. It's a website that's movie love for movie lovers. That's their tagline. And what drew me to that website way before I was ever affiliated with them was that so it's the brainchild of Patrick Bromley, who is a Chicago-based, he's a film critic. And the dude loves movies more than anybody I've ever met in my life. He lives it. He breathes it. I think he watches like 12 movies a day. Like, I don't think, like, not really, but it seems like it. Like, he's always watching movies. He is so passionate about it. And it's infectious. And one of the things that I always loved about the site is they're movie-centric. And he has people that he has write with him, for him, on the site, contribute pieces, podcasts. That would be, check out the podcast. I'm on some of the podcasts. I did a podcast with him about The Fog, John Carpenter's The Fog. Event Horizon, which required me to lay down on the psychologist couch, or the psychiatrist couch. We podcasted about, was it Ant-Man? The Marvel movie? But check the site out. My point in saying this is I'm affiliated with that website, and every week I contribute a written piece to that site. I do a lot of writing. If you've been to serialatmidnight.com, you know I do a lot of writing. I'm not a critic. I don't claim to be a film critic, but I do love movies, and I do have opinions about movies. And we're in a weird place with internet movie culture because so much of it is centered around tearing things down. And like, here's 10 reasons that The Sandlot is worse than you remember. They don't do that at F This Movie, despite the title. It's not tearing things down. It's about sharing your love and your passion for something. And so I write there. I write for my site, but I have written over 200. I think I'm up to like 200 and it's about 230 written pieces. Currently, I'm in the middle of a series on... Holy cow! Get out of here, man! What are you doing? Currently, I'm in the middle of a series on the movies of 1976. We talk about Bad News Bears, a lot of cult stuff, some Asian cinema. Okay, I'm going to pause the video because this cat is going nuts. Good grief. You know, one of the things that I didn't want to do in these videos was have to do a lot of editing because I wanted it to feel like a natural conversation. But when a cat is bound and determined to wreck your video, just screaming for no reason, like that's not acceptable. So I have the water bottle, which if you have a cat, you know the water bottle might as well be an AK-47. I am winded. I just had to go up and down some stairs. fthismovie.com, really good stuff. Check out my 1976 series. I also did a series on 1955 that I only did for about 10 weeks. There's 10 installments of that. But I'm really proud of it. Talk about movies like Rebel Without a Cause. So check that out. What else? I have an agenda here. I have my notes for what I want to talk about in the X-Men notebook. My handy X-Men notebook. Okay, so I should also mention, if you I know a lot of people watch these videos and you haven't been to serialatmidnight.com. I should point out the videos that you're watching on YouTube represent about a third of the content that I'm producing for Serial at Midnight. For every video, there's usually 2 pieces of written examination, and they're not stuffy. You know, they're not like, Society and Smokey and the Bandit. That, you know what? That's a good idea. That sounds awesome. But, just check it out. Like, I write about stuff. I write about stuff that I'm passionate about. I put a lot of work into that site, so check it out. Go over there and give it a look. A look-see. Go over there and get a look-see. Guys, there's probably going to be some bad impressions in this because my goal with this is to not feel compressed, not feel constrained by a time limit where I'd be like, oh, I need to get this video to about 15 minutes. There are, there's a place for that. If I want to talk about, like I did a review for Gotham by Gaslight, that needs to be short because people want to know if that movie is up their alley, if they're going to enjoy it, if they're not. So That is what it is. But for this, I just want to sit and talk. If we go an hour, that's cool. Hang out with me. Maybe you're doing this while you're making breakfast. Maybe you're doing this while you do your taxes. Mr. Anderson, you've been listening to a vlogger while you do your taxes. See, just stream of consciousness stuff. Now I'm paranoid. I didn't hit the record button when I came back from getting onto the cat. Are we recording? Yeah, all right. See, I'm not editing that out. I'm leaving it in. So, that's me. I'm Heath Holland. I'm getting to know you. This channel, you know, it's pretty new. It's about a year old, but I'm getting to know you. So I want to shout out to the people who have been engaging in the videos in the comment section, because, you know, creators on YouTube, like actual creators, not like Collider or like Aaron Paul or Logan Paul, whichever Paul. They need your feedback. They need to know what you're enjoying, what you're looking for, what you respond to. I want this to be like a community. And so I've been trying to reach out more myself. Speaking of, I reached out to a guy who I like to watch, Aaron Pynn, AARON PYNN. It's a Canadian dude who's, I mean, honestly, he's a lot like me as far as his tastes. He's a lot deeper into like the esoterica, super knowledgeable about all the stuff that he's passionate about. And I've been reaching out to him in his comment section, and super nice guy. So nice. So if you want like kind of what I do here, but deeper and like more, I feel like this guy's way too mainstream for me. Like Aaron Pynn is a really great guy. He's a family man. He has cats, so, you know, I'm just saying, like, that's birds of a feather. I like him a lot. But anyway, so I've been reaching out to him, and he's been reaching back and shouting me out on a video, which is super cool. So if you're coming to this video from him, his recommendation, thank you. Hey, it's good to have you here. I like the sense of community. I like feeling like we're all in this together. I don't see anything on YouTube as competition. You know, like we are... What YouTube gives us the opportunity to do is for people who have similar interests and similar passions to come together and to talk about those passions. It's not for sniping people, and it's not for being snarky and being terrible to people. And it's really probably not for trying to make a career out of either. That's a whole other topic. But that, you know, if you want to know how I feel about it, like this channel is not monetized. I thought for a hot minute that it was about to be monetized, and I was excited about that because it was one of the goals that I had set for myself when I created this channel. I was like, well, if you could get to this point, YouTube will then consider you a partner and want to promote you. And that's really what it was about. It's like you want them to want people to see your content, right? You want YouTube to say, oh, if you like this video about Batman, you might like this review of Gotham by Gaslight. You want your content to get out there. But as far as career YouTubers who are making, you know, $50,000 a year or $100,000 a year, that comes at a cost, I believe. And I think that cost is your honesty, that sounds judgmental. Let me say it another way. The cost is your videos like this. You're not going to see, you know, you may, but I doubt that you're going to see a video where people are just sitting around talking about what they're interested in a video like this for somebody who feels like they have to get maximum ad revenue, maximum clicks. That comes at a cost. For me, it's more about community, which is why I liked podcasting in the first place. It was about people of a like mind getting together and sharing interests that they all found common. You know what? So let's just talk some movies. Let's just roll into some movies, some collecting talk. I don't really have a format. Like I said, I have some notes here. I've picked up some stuff. This is collecting at midnight, right? This is my serial at midnight, collecting at midnight, collecting focused podcast, videocast, whatever. Did you see the logo that I made? I was really impressed with how that came out. I was very it conveyed what was in my head. We have like the disc, and then they have spoons instead of the arms on the clock. No, I was proud of it. It came out really well. So, collecting. That's why you're here. I need a drink of water. I've been picking things up. I'm always picking things up. I am in a state of acquisition right now because, dude, it's so cheap right now. It's everywhere, and they're just giving it away. So, that's where the bulk of this is going to come from. We're just going to look at some stuff that I've picked up recently, and I'll try to do these from time to time when I've gotten, a haul somewhere. Like I have enough to talk about. We'll do a collecting at midnight. So. Thrift store, DVDs and Blu-rays, and video games. I've talked about them in videos past, collecting physical media, the 5 tips, go where the deals are. So my thrift store haul for this past, I'm 2 weeks probably, all the way up to yesterday. Where do I want to start? I'll start with yesterday. So I picked up at a thrift store. Now, I can't tell if there's a glare on this or not. I'm sorry. I'm using my iPhone. I have the screen facing away so that the video quality is a little bit better. Cat hair. Kubo and the 2 strings. I've never seen this. I heard it was really good. I intended to. It's one of those things. I don't get in a rush to watch stuff. Like when everybody, like as I record this, there's a Marvel movie coming out this weekend, like today, and I'm excited about it, but I don't really get in a rush for most things. I went to see Star Wars at the theater. I go to see like Guardians of the Galaxy, but most of the time I enjoy things more when they're separated from the hype surrounding them. And the hype is not just like people being on talk shows or whatever, but the Twitter hype and the Facebook hype, the social media, like everybody gets in a frenzy about something. It's like if you drop a piece of meat in a tank full of sharks, and it's like, and the water froths up and it's like red, and then we've moved on to something else as a collective society. It's like, The Last Jedi is coming out. The water foam's red, and before the movie is even, we move on to other things. Well, actually, that's a bad example because we didn't move on to The Last Jedi. We're still talking about The Last Jedi. With most things, we talk about them to how about this? We beat them to freaking death. And then before, Friday night, driving home from the movies, we've moved on to something else. We're 2 years down the line. Well, what's the Avengers movie that they haven't told us about yet? And so I just prefer, personally, for me, to watch things separate of the hype. And then I can see the things for the movies that they are. Not what I thought they were going to be. Not what, at Dave Movie Guy on Twitter. I just made that up. Not what somebody thinks about it and is yelling about on social media. Yeah. So that being said, Kubo and the 2 strings. Meant to see it, never did. Heard good things. Know it was nominated for some Academy Awards, which honestly doesn't really mean anything to me because the Academy Awards have not been relevant to me in a long time. But I heard it was good, so I picked this up. Here's the thing: it does not have the digital code. Obviously, it does not have the DVD copy. They literally, I say literally too much. They took the DVD out. They redeemed the digital code, and they're like, Blu-ray, I don't want that. Give it away. Give it to the Salvation Army. So I picked this up for $2. HD Blu-ray in the case for $2. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I go to thrift stores. What else did I get for? Oh, here's a whole haul of music stuff. We'll stick with Blu-rays. Okay, so I did not have Hitch. You might be telling me you don't need Hitch. I kind of like Hitch. I kind of think Kevin James is funny. I at one point thought that Will Smith was talented when he wasn't talking about patterns and the stars or whatever. I used to like the guy. $2. All the Blu-rays, $2. Blu-rays at thrift stores, $2. You really can't go wrong with that. No digital copy or anything. It's just the disc. This is the original release of this. I also picked up 50 First Dates, which I did not have. excuse me, did not have. I believe that The Wedding Singer is Adam Sandler's best movie, at least personally for me. I like Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, stuff like that, but The Wedding Singer for me, it was like he was still young and funny and creative, and it was a good fit for him because it was something he cared about, a time period that he grew up in and that he related to. We were still in this nostalgic area. Wedding Singer is a little bit of a pastiche or parody or whatever of the 80s, but it's not like kind of where we've ended up now, where it's like 80s all the time. Now that I'm thinking about it, it kind of was a little bit on the nose, like a little bit exaggerated. But my point is, it's my favorite movie by him. It's him and Drew Barrymore, who I don't know how you can watch The Wedding Singer and not fall in love with Drew Barrymore. Even if you're a woman, how do you not fall in love with Drew Barrymore? Like, she's so sweet and like innocent and just vulnerable. And this was the first time that they re-teamed up, and it's a sweet movie. And this Adam Sandler gets criticized because it's like vacation movies. Like he decided, well, we're gonna film in Hawaii because I want to go to Hawaii. Oh, and then they go to Hawaii and they film a movie, and it's gotten so much worse in recent years. But in the early days, like, it was still kind of charming. 50 First Dates is still kind of charming. Drew Barrymore is still super sweet. So that's that. Okay, so I got Scooby-Doo Goes Hollywood. I mostly bought this. You know what? I'd say, like, well, I bought this for my daughter to watch, or for me to watch with my daughter, but I didn't. I bought it for myself. Here's the thing that will probably, as you watch this channel, you will come to realize I grew up in an ultra-conservative house. Pentecostal, super, super conservative. And Scooby-Doo was a no-no in my house. Like, I was not allowed to watch Scooby-Doo. I wasn't allowed to watch much of anything. So now, experiences like that shape you so that you're like, well, I'm going to watch whatever I want to watch, which you'll see as we go on. But it'll be a theme in this channel. It's like, here's Scooby-Doo or the Smurfs or Thundercats. You get Thundercats back there. Wasn't allowed to watch it, which means as an adult, I freaking love it. And I feel so like it's heightened to me because it was kept away from me. It was forbidden fruit. And then when you get old enough to make your own decisions, you're like, I'm going to watch Scooby-Doo every day. It's like a little Anakin Skywalker. I'm going to watch Scooby-Doo every day. Obi-Wan would be very grumpy if he knew I was watching Scooby-Doo. I hate Scooby-Doo. It gets everywhere. It's rough and it's coarse. Anyway, this is I think this is a collection of episodes. I'm not sure. 49 minutes? No, maybe this is a movie. Oh, this is a movie from the 70s, I believe. Let's see. Do we have a date on the back of the box? I don't see one. I believe this is from like the new Scooby-Doo movies or something like that. Anyway, I'm excited to have it because I dig that dog named Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo and the Sea Monsters. I thought that this was a movie, but it's not. It's a collection of episodes from different shows. Let's see if it says what exactly. It does not seem to. I think it's from What's New Scooby-Doo, maybe, or maybe it's water-themed episodes from different series of Scooby-Doo. But these were $2, which is honestly a little high for a thrift store. If your Blu-rays and your DVDs are the same price, $2 is a little much. I really shouldn't have paid more than $1. That cat is back under the seat again. And then apparently somebody had a bunch of music DVDs, and they were like, nope, I don't want them anymore. So I picked up The Who and special guests live at the Royal Albert Hall. Haven't watched it yet. It's The Who. This is from 2001. And it's so Ent Whistle is still alive. Keith Moon obviously passed. But this is like, it's them with special guests. Special guests. This is, they have Bryan Adams, Noel Gallagher, Kelly Jones from Stereophonics, Kennedy, Eddie Vedder, and Paul Weller. Now, I don't know why the Who felt like they needed to have those people. Like some of them, maybe like Noel Gallagher, Paul Weller, maybe Bryan Adams, maybe Eddie Vedder. I don't know. Like, why were they having these people on the stage with them to elevate those people? Were those people supposed to elevate the Who because they were in like a phase where, the 90s and the early aughts were a weird time for music, especially like classic rock and some of this stuff where these bands just didn't know what to do. Man, you look at Kiss before the makeup revival with Psycho Circus, and they just did not know what to do. So I wonder, like, what was going on behind the scenes for this? Like, why Eddie Vedder on stage with the Who? Maybe it's just a matter of, it says, and special guests, maybe they're just friends. Maybe it's just a matter of them being friends. I don't know. You guys, The Clash in Tokyo. Someone donated The Clash in Tokyo. So this is from January 2nd, 1982. First song on the set list, London Calling. Can you imagine? Let's see. We got, it's everything. It's what you want from these guys. So this is a DVD from 2009. It's region free. I think this was European in origin. $2. And then I got the Rolling Stones, Let's Spend the Night Together, Greatest Hits Live. This is from 82. 82. It's from an 81 tour. I guess well, hold on. Rolling Stones' record-breaking 1981 arena tour explodes onto DVD from the director Hal Ashby. Featuring the biggest Rolling Stones. Anyway, I'm a big Rolling Stones fan. Big. I have almost everything they've ever done. Hey, you guys know because you've seen my on-air video. I have the vinyl. I have, not for on-air, I have Rolling Stones vinyl collection. So I think this is still in print. I think that the Clash is not in print. But I think this is still in print. And I'm super happy to have it because I love collecting Rolling Stones concerts. Not always great, but always the Rolling Stones, if you know what I mean. Lastly, this is iffy for me. So I got James Taylor live at the Beacon Theater. James Taylor is a guy that I appreciate, especially for his early, his early career, his 70s stuff, Fire and Rain, Shower the People to an extent. What do we got on here? Okay, this is just death on a video because I'm not talking. I'm trying to see what songs he plays on here. Going to Carolina, not on this. How is Going to Carolina not? Is that the name of the song? Going to Care. I better not sing it or I'm gonna get a copyright notice. Anyway, I like his early stuff. He's like Elton John for me. Super cool in the early days. And I'm like, what happened to you, man? What are you doing? He's still a great guitar player, but just becomes something that doesn't have any fire underneath it. Like Elton John being another example of that. He starts out being one thing. It's kind of edgy and he's got the big glasses. And then 20 years later, he's talking about, can you feel the love tonight? And it's keyboards. And it's just weird. I'm like, what happened to you? You used to be so on the edge, you were in your own way. You're punk rock. Can't say that James Taylor was ever punk rock because he was not. But I like some of this guy's stuff, and I appreciate him as a songwriter, and I appreciate him as a guitar player. So I don't know, $2. It was there. I didn't want to regret not picking it up. Let me see if there's any other movies. Here's a thrift store movie. So this is Speedway by Elvis. I'm a big Elvis fan. I have all of his movies. I believe I have all of his movies, but I have them in multi-pack collections. So I have Speedway on a 3. I don't have my glasses on because I didn't want anything to glare. I have them on a 3-pack with Harem Scarum, The Trouble with Girls, and Speedway. That's a Warner Brothers collection. 3 discs. The disc with Speedway on it is a flipper, which is not ideal if you have flipper discs. Flipper discs tend to have problems being read, especially if it's like a double layer, I believe. Anyway, this was wherever I picked this up. I think this was actually $1. This was $1. And what was neat about it to me is that it has postcards, aka lobby cards. It's got lobby card reproductions in there. So here's the poster. This is the movie he did with Nancy Sinatra. So there's him with Nancy. And as an Elvis fan, I thought that it was certainly where this is like a scene out of the Haunted Mansion or something. Like, as an Elvis fan, I really liked the idea of having those lobby cards and also having the movie on a disc that's not a flipper. So I picked that up. That was a double dip for me, but for $1, like, it's not bad. Anything else from the thrift store? I don't think so. I'll talk about some games really quick. Let's see. These are all from the same thrift store. Blowing out their PlayStation 2 and Xbox games at $2 a piece. So I picked up, for the Xbox, I picked up Crimson Skies. I never got this for some reason. I don't know why. It's complete. It's intact. It's got the manual. Discs look good. Or the disc looks good. I picked up Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, the first one. PlayStation 2 Greatest Hits. Again, it's got the manual. It's not super scratched. If I always ask to look at the discs, I'll go to the employee and I'll be like, "Can I look at these games or whatever?" And I always check them out to make sure that they're in good shape or bad shape or whatever. And if they're scratched up or if I'm dubious about them, I just pass, because you'll probably find them somewhere else. Stuntman, from the creators of Driver, Atari game. Cool old like 70s car grindhouse kind of a thing. That's got me all over it. No manual for this one, but we do have the disc. Looks good. And then lastly, I picked up The Godfather, the game, for Xbox. Never played it. I believe my cousin did. Jason, if you're watching, did you play this? I believe he did, and he liked it. Or maybe it was Scarface. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's really cool. You know, these games, like if you look, I don't know how well you can see that. I don't want to get it too close because of glare or like whatever. But like graphics for these games aren't that bad. I know sometimes it can be startling to go back to some old stuff like 16-bit, 8-bit. They hold up great, right? That looks like what your kids are playing on their phone. But these games, as I talked about in my physical media collecting, my 5 tips for physical media collecting, games like this, nobody wants them right now. They're in that middle phase of the nostalgia cycle where like guys like me who, you know, when did this come out? This was 2006. Man, I was married in 2006. Guys like me were around for this the first time around, so we're always going to be interested in it. But the younger people who were, 10, whatever, they're not there yet, but they will be soon. And this game will not be $2 forever. And the thing about a licensed game, so they can make like a Nintendo-owned property, they can put on like the eShop or whatever they're calling it. PlayStation game like, Crash Bandicoot, you can find on the PlayStation Store. But these licensed games, sometimes these things disappear and they never come back. Like Knights of the Old Republic, I don't think you can download that anywhere. The Xbox Knights of the Old Republic games. So I have my original Xbox with the save files for Knights of the Old Republic on it. I have an extra Xbox too. That's another thing. Somebody just gave me an Xbox. I was helping my brother-in-law move, and these people were cleaning out their storage shed. We had to go to the storage shed to get some of his stuff out, and there were these people there, and he had all these old video game stuff. He had like Donkey Kong, what was it? The Bongos? I can't remember what it was called. Donkey Kong Jam? No, that's not right. As soon as I stop recording, I'll remember it. Anyway, he gave me an Xbox. He was like, whatever you want in there, you can have. And there was an Xbox, it was a GameCube, lots of games. He just gave them to me for no reason. He didn't want them. He wanted them gone. So if you're collecting physical media, this is the time. And stuff like that, Xbox games, licensed games in particular, they may not come back. This may be, currently, if you want to play The Godfather, this is the only way to play it. That may be the case forever. Time will tell. I mean, I don't want to get into piracy. There's always that, but legitimately, legally, this is the way to do that. You can't find this at, Amazon's not selling that. If you pick this up on Amazon from a seller, EA's not getting a dime. Microsoft's not getting a dime. So pick it up wherever you find it cheaply. Okay. Retail. Now, some of us are going to be talking about the same thing, like in the YouTube movie collecting community. There were big releases recently, and so we're all kind of overlapping on certain things, but not everything. So first, I just get it out of the way. Yes, I bought Friday the 13th, the collection, the 8 movie collection. No, this does not have the New Line stuff on it. This is just the Paramount movies. Paramount, right? Yes. See previous comment about ultra conservative upbringing. I would go to the video store in the 80s and I would see the dangling hockey mask for the advertisements for Jason for Friday the 13th. I would see the cardboard standees in the corner, and it was so intriguing to me. That and Freddy and Chucky to an extent, but Chucky was later. And I was so intrigued. And I would not see the movies for like another 10 years at least. And so now, of course, like, I freaking love Friday the 13th. I think Friday the 13th, don't quote me on it, but I think this is my favorite horror franchise. I love Jason. I love the idea of the camp, the camp in the woods and the slasher. I even like, I like Jason Goes to Manhattan. Jason Takes Manhattan, sorry. I just like the slasher vibe. There are some Friday the 13th related ideas that I have for this channel that will not take place in this room. I'm talking about some trips. They're plans right now. I just have to do them because, these things take a lot of time. Here's a little sidebar. One of the challenges of YouTube, making content for YouTube, especially something like a video, or a video about media, is it becomes easy to slip down a rabbit hole where you're talking more about the thing than actually doing the thing, which is not good. So like I've noticed in my own life the last month, 2 months, more videos about movies and movie collecting than actually watching movies. And that's a problem. So I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to keep a balance for some things. But yeah, I picked this up. I'm super happy to have it. I did not have the Mega 10 set that had all 12 movies in it for one particular reason. It wasn't the cost. It was because there were so many reports of people buying them and the way that they had stored the discs inside the packaging, them coming out scratched first time. And I had read an account on a forum somewhere of a guy at, like, I think it was a Best Buy, and he bought the set and he took it out to his car and he opened it and the discs were scratched. And so he took it back inside and he switched it out and he got that one out and the discs were scratched. So by the end of it, he was at like the customer service counter with the manager going through the packages to try to find one that didn't have scratched discs. And that's always, it seems like that's always a problem when these studios get real creative with the packaging and they start like, well, we'll put them in these two plastic paper, these little crinkly things, and you like jam it in there. Lost in Space. Whoever designed that, look, I'm a forgiving guy. Whoever designed the packaging for Lost in Space, though, needs to have been fired. Like, they should not have their job. It's the worst. You take it out. It's like this weird accordion thing. You take it out, and they're just falling out, like sliding out. The way that it's designed, there's no way to hold the package without a disc sliding out one side or the other side. It's terrible. Or they get jammed up in there, and you can't get them out. You have to like go get like medical tweezers or something to try to extract the discs. It's terrible. So I did get this. I have the, somewhere back here, right here. I have the individual, I don't know if the camera can pick that up over there, but I have the individual releases for everything but 7 and 8. I have 1, 2, and then I think it was 3, 4, 5, and 6, because they did double packs. And I was going to get 7 and 8, and then like scalpers hit 7 and 8 hard. And I never got it, and it was going for like $50, $60, and now I think they're more than that. So I just waited. I bided my time, and now I have it. And hopefully, this will light a fire under New Line, and they'll get the ones that they have out. I have the New Line movies. I have I have Blu-rays for the 2 that they did put out on Blu-ray. The remake and what is it? Freddy vs. Jason. Yeah, I have those on Blu-ray. I don't have the 2, the 9th and 10th movies, which I like, and I'd like to support them if they would ever put them out. Okay, I picked up. This is the Ron Howard collection, or the Ron Howard action pack from Shout Factory. Eat My Dust and Grand Theft Auto. I believe Grand Theft Auto was Ron Howard's directorial debut. Let's see if it says. I'm not sure. I believe it was his directorial debut. Anyway, this is from his Roger Corman years. And it's just so crazy to me that the guy who has taken over directing duties for Solo, a Star Wars story, is this guy. I mean, he's a prestigious director, you know, Oscar-winning movies, but he came from Roger Corman, and that's so cool to me. And instead of distancing himself from that, like, he's on the special features for this. So there's interviews with Ron Howard about the making of the movies. It's like, it has his involvement in it. And by the way, this both movies have new anamorphic transfers, so I'm excited about that. I picked up. Okay, you're gonna be disappointed in me. I understand. I picked up Blade Runner, which I did not have. I used to have. I've had this movie multiple times. I had the VHS. I had the DVD. For whatever reason, I did not have the Blu-ray. And the VHS and the DVD have gone somewhere. When you move, things happen. Things just disappear. Maybe I traded them for something at some point. I don't know. But I had been meaning to pick this up. And I really wanted to get... So there was the version that came in like the briefcase that was like $100. I couldn't do that. Here's the thing. Like, I have all this physical media, but I'm cheap. Like, I don't spend lots of money on releases because, as you can see, if you play the long game, a deal will come to you. Or that's my belief. For better or for worse, I will not spend $100 for what is essentially, or, you know, whatever it was, $70. It was expensive. That briefcase, that was expensive. I can't rationalize spending that on one movie. Maybe down the line I'll be able to. I kind of wish that I had, because I want the other cuts of this movie and I don't have them. And I was gonna, so I didn't get the big briefcase set, and then I was gonna get the 3-disc version, I think it was, that has the documentary on it, and it has like 3 different versions. And then that went out of print. I was waiting for a good price on that, and then that went out of print. So here I am. I'm stuck with a single disc version, which is fine. This is the final cut. It does not have the, I think it's called Strange Days, could be wrong, but it doesn't have the documentary on it. So maybe at some point the other edition will cross my path, and if it does, I'm gonna pick it up. Big Lots. I hit Big Lots from time to time. If you check the forums, like Blu-ray.com, I think has a thread that sometimes their forum, people will talk about things that are popping up at Big Lots. So I picked up Rockstar, which is a great movie. I actually really love this movie. The Noir, Panic in the Streets. This is a Fox Noir. I picked up The Petrified Forest with Humphrey Bogart. I picked up Aloha, Cameron Crowe. I haven't watched this. This is a blind buy for me. I love Almost Famous. I like Singles. Jerry Maguire's okay. Like, I like Cameron Crowe, but he's a director who's just gone to places that I'm just not really interested in. And that kind of happens sometimes. You're like, you know, Elton John and James Taylor. I'm like, I used to like what you were doing, but you've just gone to a place. You're going down a path I can't follow. I quote Star Wars a lot. Miller's Crossing. Coen Brothers. I didn't have this one either. This is one of the few. Actually, there's several that I don't have by the Coen Brothers, but all of these were $3 a piece. So, like I had mentioned at one point, I went in there on Black Friday and I got the Blacklist season 1 and season 2 for $5 each. Big Lots is getting some really good stuff. I don't know if those are available. If Big Lots is outside of the U.S., I don't know if they're in Canada or in Mexico or Argentina. Octavio, what's up? I don't know. But you got to go where the deals are, man. Okay, so then I picked up on Amazon cheaply the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. I had a DVD of this from like back in the day, but this dropped to like $6 something. And I was like, oh yeah, this is, you know, some people would say this is one of the greatest kung fu movies, martial arts movies ever made. It's good. I like Five Deadly Venoms more, but I'm not going to pass on something like this, especially not at that price. I picked up Heavy Metal, which was also, I think it went down to $5.99 before it shot back up. Never had Heavy Metal. See previous comment about conservative upbringing. This was obviously a no-no in my house, so I didn't see it until probably the early 2000s. I like it. I don't love this movie, but I haven't watched it in a long time. I'm interested in revisiting it because as I get older, I get so much more into the exploitation, the camp, the cult, the grindhouse, like all the fringe cinema. Like that's where I'm at right now. That's where I really like to. That's what interests me most right now. So I'm looking forward to revisiting this. I'm not sure when it will be. I don't have any plans right now. I have a lot of other things that I really feel urgently about watching. I've had this for a while, but I just watched it. The Lady from Shanghai. This is a Mill Creek Blu-ray of a very good noir film. I think that the production history of this is contentious. There was a lot of drama behind the scenes because it's got Orson Welles in it, and if Orson Welles is in something, apparently there's just going to be a lot of crap behind the scenes. But I think this movie is fantastic. I wrote this up for my site, so if you want to know more about what I think about this, I would encourage you to go check out the review on my site, serialatmidnight.com. There are some things you can do with a written piece that you just can't do in a video. I can't convey to you all of the nuance about what I find in this movie, why I think it works, by just talking about it. Sometimes, you know, each form of communication has its strengths, and for really getting into something like this movie, you have to write about it. And go check it out. You know, I'd like you to. I want you to go check out what I think about The Lady in Shanghai. I picked up, this was another really good deal, the Beach Boys Pet Sounds. This is the classic album series. I'm a huge music fan, as you know. The Beach Boys are one of my favorites. I was lucky enough to see Brian Wilson when he did his tour. He came through here last year, his Pet Sounds tour, where they played the whole album live. It was amazing. It was amazing. Pet Sounds is one of the greatest, and this is the classic album series about the movie, or sorry, about the creation of the album. Interviews with the people. I know they have Brian Wilson at a piano. Haven't watched it yet. There's a lot of this stuff that it's just, I mean, this is my hobby. This is my, YouTube is my hobby. I have a full-time job, so I will hope to, you know, have to work this stuff in when I can. So hopefully this weekend I'm going to sit down and watch this. I'm also reading a book about Brian Wilson that we'll probably talk about at some point. I was one of the lucky people who got the Jack the Ripper. I guess this is like the limited edition from Severin Films. I've only watched the English cut. There's an English cut, the UK cut, and then there's an American cut, which I haven't watched yet, and a continental version. When people refer to like the continental part of Europe as the continent, I think of the old Saturday Night Live sketch with Christopher Walken, The Continental, with the champagne. The champagne. Wow. Wow. I think of that. So I was really, so these were sold out on Black Friday. I didn't get it on Black Friday. And then last week, as I record this, they sent out an email and they're like, we have some more Jack the Ripper that we found. It's going to go up at 3 p.m. on Friday. Make arrangements or whatever. And so I did. And I was there, clicking the refresh button, and I got it. I'm a little bit discouraged because it's a brand new Blu-ray. It still had the sealing on it, the seal on the top. The Blu-ray has scratches on it. And so I'm OCD. I was an only kid. I'm used to my stuff being like really taken care of. And whenever I get a Blu-ray in the mail, the first thing I do is I take it out. I take the disc off the hub and I examine it to make sure that everything is okay, because it's not always okay. I've bought lots of things and you get it out to like the guy with the Friday the 13th set. Like, you get it out to the car, you open it up, and there's scratches on it. So I'm a little concerned about the scratches. It didn't affect the playback on the UK cut. There was like a dropout of audio for less than a second, which I think is inherent in the source material. But I'm nervous about watching the US version. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed on this one that I'm not going to have any issues with this. But, yeah, fingers crossed. Best Buy was running a sale on some of their catalog titles. I guess these are all Fox. I picked up The Hustler with Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason, and I picked up The French Connection. I should have had The French Connection all along. Used to have it on DVD. I don't know what happened to it. They are running a deal right now. These are $7.99 a piece, or 2 for $10. So for $5, and I believe they have some of the Alien movies in there on the deal. I can't remember what else because I had everything else. Maybe some of the Predator movies. I don't remember. But this is what I talk about when I say, like, do your research. Like, I wouldn't have known about this if I hadn't gone to the Best Buy site and, like, I checked the sale papers on the weekend. Like, Sunday morning, the sale papers come out, and I know what's going to be, what the deals are going to be. So I wouldn't have known about that otherwise, and I really want both. The Hustler, for, maybe you don't know, if you've ever seen The Color of Money with Tom Cruise and Paul Newman, that's the sequel to this that took place like 20 years later. Actually, it was longer than that, 25 maybe. What is The Color of Money? 88, 89? I'm not sure. But Paul Newman's the same character. So I'm glad to have these in the collection. I'm really glad that I only paid $5 for them. Let's see. We talk about this really quick. I've been digging into this Warriors collection. I think this thing went out of print. I never bought them. I have a lot of Mill Creek stuff. I love Mill Creek. I like to support Mill Creek. I try to let them know, like, that's like a thing. I'm like trying to let people know, hey, I really appreciate what you're doing. So I've been reaching out to Mill Creek too, tweeting them, whatever. I'm like, awesome job. Like, you're the Hunter from the Future. That Blu-ray is awesome. Like, I'm so happy with that. It could not be more for me. If I'd pay $35 or $40 for a collector's edition Scream Factory, or like the Vestron video series, if it was like a nice $40 package, I wouldn't be any happier. I'm very happy with that Blu-ray. So I love Mill Creek, and I had been meaning to get this, and I just didn't. Because you always, we collect things. There's always tomorrow. I'll get it later. And I just never got this. And I think it went out of print. I had to scramble for this. They're still out there for about $20, $15, $20, but they're going up. They're not really available from the mainstream outlets anymore. Amazon, Deep Discount, like FYE, whatever you use in the States, at least, they're not available through those outlets anymore. Or this is not. But I'm going to go through this. This is the Sword and Sandal collection. Basically, this is like, it says Warriors, but what it is it's Peplum. It's Mill Creek's Peplum collection of Italian sword and sandal movies. I think I've only watched 4. This is where I'm spending my time when I have time. Bad transfers mostly, but some of these things, like, I'm really falling into Italian cinema. Obviously, I love spaghetti westerns. The thing is, when you have a wide collection and you're not super focused, like, some people are super focused on horror, and some people are super focused on, like, grindhouse, and that's all they do. I have, it's wider for me. I have spaghetti westerns, I have Scooby-Doo, like, whatever. And so the Peplum genre, Like, I'm super interested in Italian cinema, but I was underexposed on Peplum, and I was underexposed on Eurocrime. So I'm going through this, and I'm enjoying it. I would also like to shout out, what is the movie? The 10 Gladiators series. It's a trilogy, the 10 Gladiators. Is that right? Yes. There's the 10 Gladiators, Spartacus and the 10 Gladiators, and then there's a third one that's not on here. And you guys, these movies are so good. There's like a scene where these gladiators are being tortured. You know, it's kind of like Spartacus, but pulpier. And so they've got these guys, these are like big muscle-bound guys, and they're hanging by one arm from this tree. Just legit straight up hanging. Like, no stunt work. They're just hanging there by one arm from this tree. While this guy, like, shoots at them with a bow and arrow. It's like he's slowly killing them as they hang from the tree. Super, like, iconic imagery. I wish that those movies had a better release than what they have here. Unfortunately, I don't think they do. These are all public domain movies, and I think that every available copy of those movies is from the public domain and is going to look the same. But if there was ever a trilogy of movies that are begging to be shined up, put in the proper aspect ratio, given like their proper Italian language with a good dub, it's these, the 10 Gladiators movies. But underexposed on Peplum and underexposed on Eurocrime. And so I've been slowly going through Eurocrime, Italian crime movies. These are from Raro Video. Hopefully I said that without my southern accent. Raro Video. These are from Raro Video. And I was aware of Raro Video, but I didn't support them. I hadn't bought anything from them. And I took a plunge with Hitchhike, which is an Italian movie. Do they have the Italian language auto stop? I don't see it on here. It's probably in here. Anyway, this is Franco Nero, who was the original Django. And Corinne Clary, I think that's how you say her name. Corinne Clary. She's beautiful. She was a Bond girl. She's in Moonraker. She's in You're the Hunter from the Future. It starts out as a movie about picking up a hitchhiker, and the hitchhiker's crazy. Of course, it's David Hess, and so it goes to the places that David Hess movies go to. But that's not all that the movie is. It has a lot of surprises, a lot of psychological developments. It's fantastic, and it has an excellent score by Ennio Morricone, the guy that did the music for The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Fantastic composer. It's a great movie. What I have been floored by is that, so we got a slipcase, and then there's other art. I don't know if this is original art in here, but what makes me so happy, disc looks beautiful, but it has not just a booklet, but like full-on essay, a full-on essay in here about the importance of the movie, what it does, what it tries to do, giving you context for why the movie is esteemed, why you should care about it. Every DVD should do this. Every Blu-ray should do this. Like, tell us about the movie. Tell us why we should care. Like, I love it. And so I also picked up Stunt Squad, and also, similarly, like, awesome disc art, looks very classy, and a booklet telling us about the movie. It's an essay talking about the movie's from 1977, so it's talking about the social impact, the implications of the movie, what was going on, why this is like this. So Stunt Squad is basically there's crime rampant in Italy, and the cops are having a hard time keeping up. So this guy, I guess he's an inspector, or he goes to his chief. He's like, I could solve this problem if you let me do it the way that I want to do it, and if you give me the manpower, if you let me train this squad that I want to train. And the guy's like, go ahead, I trust you, do it. And he puts together this crack team of like motorcycle cops who can ride and they can shoot. There's a scene where this guy like pops a wheelie and shoots at a target. He's like, like shooting a target as he goes by. It's super cool. Now, the art on this thing, let's see if I can do this without the glare. The art does not necessarily reflect the movie. Nothing in the movie is quite as cool as what the poster art, the cover art looks like, but it's good in other ways. It has a lot of surprises. It's like it has a lot of psychological stuff in it. It has a lot of societal stuff in it. You really get the feeling that Italy did not feel like they were being protected adequately by the police, and so there's a statement on that. There's kind of a statement on vigilante justice. There's a lot going on in this movie. And so another thing, these movies go for, between $20 and $30, but they do a sale. If you sign up for their mailing list, rarevideousa.com for me, depending on what part of the country you're in, it might be different, but Raro Video USA, you sign up for their mailing list, they have frequent weekend sales where everything is half off. So both of these, I think, were $10.50. They were in the $10.50 range, like $10.50. So when you look at it like that, and you got the booklet with an essay, they have special features of behind the scenes stuff. They're just classy packages, and like look at the you have the director's name, you have the title, so classily done. And so I really want to support the label. I've bought the On the Way, not here yet, but I have the Fernando de Leo collection. Volumes 1 and 2 are on their way, and a Django movie. So maybe we'll talk about them down the line. TV, I will be really quick with this. I picked up Have Gun Will Travel, the complete series. This thing dropped to a great price. It ran for 6 years. Have Gun Will Travel was a fantastic Western. Ran from 50, I think it was 58. Let's see if we have a year here. 57 to 1963. And the thing about stuff from this period, I'm a huge fan of 50s Westerns. I'm a huge fan of noir. I'm really just a genre fan, like a genre movie fan. That's really, like, I'm not super interested in more reality-based stuff. I'm interested in genre. I'm interested in larger-than-life stuff. And the 50s were like ground zero for that. You had the noir movement from the 40s into the 50s. And we're going to talk about noir later. I'm going to do a video on noir, probably more than one video on noir, because I love the genre. I've been revisiting it lately. But the thing about shows like this is that in 1957, TV was becoming a thing. And it was when TV really started to compete with the movies. And movies like, noir, for example, that's a great example. Is noir often is set very small. Like, not big budgets, not big sets, not big productions. They're done small. They're done on a kind of a micro level. They're character pieces. And by the 50s, by 57, your TV became your movies. Like, all that stuff that made movies, all those hard-boiled noir movies, as TV became more and more popular, the movies became bigger because they had to compete. So they became spectacles. So then you had the big Bible movies, and you had, like Spartacus. We're talking about Spartacus. You had the big gladiator movies on the huge scale with, extras, tons and tons of extras. But your talent that was working on the little character stuff for the movies went to television. So Have Gun Will Travel has all of the appeal of a noir, the character stuff, the ambiguity of, like, nobody's good and evil. It's like everybody's just kind of drawn in shades of gray. That's all here in Have Gun Will Travel. Gene Roddenberry, who the creator of Star Trek, the original series, my favorite Star Trek by far, love TOS. Gene Roddenberry is responsible for about 1/10 of the scripts of Have Gun Will Travel. And it follows this guy called Paladin, who is played by Richard Boone, he was in noir, he was in 50s westerns, and he wears black. Well, so he's like a high society guy. He lives at a hotel in San Francisco, and when he sees a case that he thinks is worthy of his time, he reaches out to this person and says, "I'm Paladin, have gun, will travel, hire me for your cause," which almost always ends up in violence, and it's almost always somebody's going to die. If he's getting involved, somebody's probably going to die. Not always, but a lot of the time. And it's just very like, he wears black. It's you can tell things are changing in society where like he's not he's not the Lone Ranger for sure. He's not an anti-hero either. He has a moral code. He's well read. He quotes Shakespeare, all that stuff. He's a great character. Paladin is a great character. And I would encourage you, if you haven't checked this out, I know it comes on broadcast TV, maybe on like the Heroes and Icons channel or something. If you're scrolling through the TV channels and you see it, check it out, because the scripts are fantastic. Tons of guest stars. The first episode of this has, oh man, I can't remember. Anyway, I know Charles Bronson is in the second episode. But like, Character Central went to TV. When noir faded from the box office, it went to television. And this shows like this, The Fugitive, Mission Impossible, Rawhide, what's another one? Gunsmoke. Like all those have that noir feel with the cracking dialogue, the morality that's not easy to discern. It's really great stuff. I think we're going to leave it there. I have some more stuff that I wanted to show you, but I think we've gone long enough. I think we'll save it for another time. Let's see. Let me check my notes and make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah, we can skip that. We can skip that. Guys, thank you. Thank you for watching this video. I'm tired. If you can tell, I've worn myself out. I've talked more in this video than I've probably talked all week. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for watching this video. Reach out. Let me know who you are. Let me know who's watching. Check out the stuff that I told you about. Check out Aaron Pynn's channel. I hope I'm saying his name right. I think it's Aaron Pynn. AARONPYNN. Great dude. Check out F This Movie. Join us for the Twitter festival that's coming up. F This Movie 7. Watch the video that I did about that. Going to be super fun. I'm going to be watching some great movies from 1989 together, talking about them on Twitter. Community, passion. That's what I'm talking about. That's what this channel is about. Community, passion. We're all in this together. If you're watching this video, you're interested in this stuff, and that means that we are friends. We are a part of the same community. So thank you again. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any content. You can head over to @SerialMidnight at Twitter, or on Twitter, and also make sure that you never miss anything. Here's the thing, like if you set a YouTube, even if you just subscribe to certain channels, it's kind of iffy now if you're going to get notified when those things come out. Like people put up videos and they get buried somehow. Like that's the thing that's happening right now. So if you want to make sure you don't miss anything, you can make sure you're subscribed, that's your thumbs up. You could hit us up on Twitter. Check out the Twitter page. Check out serialatmidnight.com. All the stuff. You know all the stuff. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I will catch you later.